walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to
Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
So, guys, it is Monday, and we got a special review for you today. We're going to be talking about the Cult of Chucky. And some of you may have or may not have seen that movie, as it's on Netflix now, which is essentially free, although you still pay a subscription, yada yada. But unfortunately, and a lot of people didn't know this, that the unrated version of that movie is not on Netflix, so you will be missing out on a lot of gore, as well as the end credit scene. So, fortunately, I was able to get the Blu-ray. I think you rented it.
Yep.
So, and I watched the entire franchise already just because I was preparing for this. And then I think Britni's seen quite a few, but I think she watched The Curse and Cult.
Yes.
Just to give you guys a heads up, we will not be spoiling anything in the beginning of this. So when we do our review, it'll just be like a regular review without any spoilers. And then when we get done with that, then we'll jump into the spoiler section. So you won't have to worry about anything. We got it all taken care of for you. Come sit on Grandpa Alex's lap.
No.
And Nana Britni.
Britni. I don't like that.
I know, it's kind of weird.
I'm not old enough to be a Nana.
I'm getting there. I don't know. So how you been?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, my mom's in town, so I'm just chilling.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty excited about that, hanging out with her a little bit?
My mom's pretty rad, so.
We've been fucking busy, though, so it's been hard to hang out, I know.
It's been rough.
Doing 3 movies this week was a little more than we...
Technically 4.
Yeah, 4 technically, because we watched Curse. So, do you have anything going on, though, other than that? Or
No, just getting ready for our Vegas trip.
That's right.
Woo!
Which is weird because everything that happened, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, we're thinking to ourselves, like, oh, shit.
Everyone thinks I'm crazy for going. and I'm
Do
like,
they?
I can't pause my entire life just because of that. Like,
Well, the way I look at it is that it's fucking tragic what happened, and I don't care what political side you're on, it's human life.
Right.
And it's shitty what the fuck happened. So, and that's about as political as I'm going to get. But as far as, like, going or not going, we debated it a little bit, and I thought to myself, like, well, I mean, it's not like Vegas is the spot where all this stuff always happens. It was a pretty fucking random, crazy thing that was, like, insane. But, you know, we have to just try to keep living life, right?
We're more likely to die on our way to Vegas than anything happening to us in Vegas.
Well, hopefully not, but
yeah,
thanks, Britni. You just fucked us up.
I'm a great driver. It's fine.
I'm an excellent driver.
I speed, but I'm a good driver.
Definitely.
Definitely. I mean, you know, I don't drive behind logging trucks. I've seen Final Destination.
Right?
I know what's up.
Dude, yeah, any log trucks, we're going around.
Bye.
Yeah. Speed past that motherfucker right now.
Thanks.
What was I going to say? We're going to be going out to Vegas, so we're going to actually be going to see the Perturbator show with John Carpenter. And then we're actually going to be going to the Zach Baggins, the Haunted Museum, that has just opened up in Vegas that a lot of people have been anxiously awaiting to go. One of them is not Britni.
I'm looking forward to the Haunted Museum, but...
She thought I tricked her, too. I thought she knew what I was talking about.
I thought he purposely left out the part about Zach... What's his nuts?
Yeah, he's going to give us a tour while we're there.
Oh my God, I wish. That'd be great.
No, you can't be mean to the...
I'd be nice.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm a nice person, sort of.
But there's some cool
Unless
shit
he's
there.
wearing a fucking, like, Iron Cross shirt, and then I probably won't be nice.
Right. And just to give you guys a heads up, because of that trip, we are going to be taking off that week. So that Monday through the Thursday, so Monday the 30th through that week, we're going to have off because we need a break. We've been busting our ass. And I normally never take a break, but I feel like missing one week and an entire year in like a month or two is pretty good.
Well, we're going to have a lot to get ready and go over anyways after the trip, so we're going to need some time to, because the following week after we get back and everything's been settled, like that's basically going to be devoted to what we did in Vegas.
Well, and we're gonna try our best to do videos and such of anything that we can record. We're not sure that we can do any video recording or photo shooting of the Haunted Museum, but we'll try to give you kind of like maybe an outside the museum sort of like pep talk or whatever, and then we'll try to combine it that week. I'll put together a video of all the editing and photos and everything that we have with music or something like that, so that you guys can kind of like follow along. And I'll do the best I can. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect because odds are we're going to have a drink in our hand everywhere we go.
It's Vegas. We're going to have a drink the entire time.
So, but yeah, just keep that in mind. We'll be gone from the 30th that week on, but we will be back that following Monday. So
Alex, how have you been this week? What have you been up to? Anything
that doesn't
cool?
sound canned at all.
Well, you can edit it to sound canned. It's fine.
I've been really fucking busy like you. You have like a regular job. I do like 4 days a week I work on the podcast. Every day I try to promote. But I've been working on some music in the background between times I'm doing stuff on the podcast. There's a new album coming out. I can't say right now what it is. But you definitely want to keep your eyes out on 13th because I did a track where I sang and screamed on and helped to do a little bit of production on a track with a synthwave project that I really like. And it was a lot of fun, and I think the track's pretty killer.
I may or may not have heard it.
You did.
And it's pretty awesome. I didn't know if I was allowed to say.
I'm hoping people like it because I know a lot of synthwave players or like listeners don't like vocals. Like, they like to just imagine what this world is like in the music kind of thing.
I like vocals.
I'm a singer, so naturally I want to sing over everything that I like.
Right.
So, but hopefully you guys like it. We'll see. It was a lot of work.
It's cool.
I went hoarse because I used to scream all the time in my band, and I haven't when you're screaming for like 4 or 5 hours straight, that's like doing 4 shows or 5 shows, you know what I mean? Or maybe even more. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if your voice isn't, you got to kind of get your voice back into that. But I think it did a good job, so we'll see. But anyway, enough about my fucking dumb shit.
What time is it?
I think it's about that time, Britni.
Oh, yeah.
HORRORSHOTS! This week, since we're going to be doing a review of Cult of Chucky, we figured what better way to ring in the horror shots than do a Chucky Child's Play sort of theme shot. Now, we've done one before. I did one with Mark Doubt, also known as Bava Lamp on Instagram. If you want to check out some of his artwork, he does a lot.
Do it. It's dope.
We did a Chucky fucker before.
Chucky fucker.
So we figure we'll do a red-headed step Chucky this time for the Cult of Chucky.
Yes.
So the ingredients for this one, it's kind of like a red-headed slut, but we put a tweak on it a little bit. But we got Jagermeister. So it's like 1 part of Jagermeister, 1 part triple sec, and 1 part Grenadine. Or no, not 1 part, just a skosh.
Skosh.
And
orange juice.
Oh, and orange juice. And like one, so it's 1 part Jagermeister, 1 part triple sec, 1 part orange juice. You put a skosh of fucking Grenadine on top, and then you put a little pairing of orange candy slices on the top. And that was Brittany's idea because we couldn't find an orange. And we were too lazy to go to the store. We probably should eat more oranges.
You don't live near any fucking regular grocery store. So.
Yeah. Well, we're in a bunker out in the middle of, Arizona.
Nowhere, with our crystal skulls with fire red eyes. Shake it.
All right. So we've already got it mixed up. You're going to want to serve this chilled.
Yeah. This is basically all of your bad high school decisions mixed into one drink. Yeah. These shot glasses are so cool.
Want to play?
Want to play? No. Not with you, you stupid
Not
motherfucker.
like that, you fucking dirtbag.
No, I'm talking about Chucky.
Oh.
I don't want to play with him either. Well, fuck.
Cheers.
Pour me another. That was good.
It's actually not bad.
Oh, there's the Jaeger. It's like high school.
Yeah, there's no getting away from Jaeger.
Oh, high school. It's all over. It's all back.
Every time we've mixed Jaeger in something,
It's awful.
you can taste it.
Well, Jaeger's one of those things that, like,
It's its own thing.
it fucking sneaks up on your ass, man.
Want to play?
No.
Cheers. Ready?
Yes.
All right. Ugh. Okay, yeah.
Black licorice is the worst thing ever invented.
So, if you guys are interested in trying to make a redheaded step Chucky, then you can go to longlivethevoid.com and check out our hashtag horror shots now.
Horror shots! Woo!
So, guys, this week we're not going to be doing the news since we're going to be kind of getting in depth about Cult of Chucky. Typically, when we do a review, we kind of skip over the news, but this last week was a little light on the news. We got a lot of trailers, and there's stuff coming up, but we're going to jump right into the Cult of Chucky review. Spoiler-free first, and then we'll jump into the spoiler, and we'll give you plenty of notice that we're going to be going into the spoiler area. All right, guys, so we are back, and we're going to be doing our Cult of Chucky review. Now, I'm going to give you a heads up, guys. If you haven't seen Curse of Chucky, you're going to want to watch that first.
Do it.
First and foremost, because Curse and Cult are paired together.
They tie in to each other.
And technically, Curse and Cult are tied into the entire franchise.
Yeah, it does this whole, like, really cool looking back.
I think the only thing that's not in there is the Seed of Chucky.
Yeah, I didn't catch anything from that.
So, and as I mentioned before, guys, you can watch the Netflix version of Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky for free or your subscription, but it is not the unrated version, and it doesn't have the stinger at the end after the credits.
Yeah,
the
post-credit scene on its own is worth it.
It totally
Just
is.
Spend the fucking $5 to rent it if you can't illegally download it somewhere.
100%. So, the story of this one, as read on IMDb, Chucky returns to terrorize his human victim, Nika. Meanwhile, the killer doll has some scores to settle with his old enemies, with the help of his former wife. That's the story, but it opens up a lot. Now, Don Mancini comes back, of course, to direct this movie, which he is pretty much one of the fathers of Chucky. He has been a big part of the Chucky franchise. He's been a part of all of it in some aspect. He also wrote this movie. Also, it has some people we saw in The Curse of Chucky. You're going to have Alison Dawn Doran, who is Rachel. She did a movie called Dead of Winter in 2014. She was in a couple of TV shows, Murdoch Mysteries. She did Seed, which she did about 3 episodes on that. She's relatively a newer actor, I guess, in a way. She was also in The Good Witch, and then now she's in this movie. She plays Rachel, but Alex Vincent, the original Andy Barclay, comes back. Barclay, whatever. He comes back as an adult this time. He was in The Curse of Chucky, but he does come back, and boy, is he a little different in this one. It's not the same little sweet kid you think.
No, it's perfect. It's a good tie-in to the post-credit scene from Curse.
Right. And no movie would be a Chucky movie or a Child's Play movie without Brad Dourif.
Yeah, absolutely. I would completely and 100% boycott the fuck out of this shit if they didn't have Brad Dourif.
It's going to get there one day.
It is. Well, if they fucking keep going, yeah, it's going to. Hopefully when they do number 8, which is probably going to happen.
It'll be number 12,
That is it. Stop at 8. Please.
But he comes back as Chucky, the voice of Chucky. His daughter returns. She was in Curse. She was the girl that was wheelchair bound. Nika. Also, there's quite a few other actors in this one. Michael Thoreau, who plays Dr. Foley, who is one of my favorite actors in this movie. You got Zach Santiago, who plays Nurse Carlos. He's been in quite a few things I've seen before. He was in Shooter. He was in the TV series iZombie, a movie called Bad City. He was in the Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome TV movie from 2012. and quite a few other things. But he does a really good job in this movie as well.
And he's great.
There's quite a few actors in this movie. There's also Adam Herdig, who plays Michael. He plays like a crazy person in the asylum.
Multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, he was also in The Curse of Chucky as well, but he had a really bit part in it.
Oh, okay.
He was also in the show Supernatural, movie called Devil's Gate that's coming out, which is fucking looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited. I think it's like an alien movie, so I'm anxious to see that one as well. And by the way, I forgot to mention Jennifer Tilly returns like an idiot.
Yeah, duh.
I don't know why I would forget that, but she returns as Tiffany Valentine, and she's kind of strewn throughout the whole movie a little bit. She wasn't that great.
She's awful.
It wasn't as... She didn't hit like she did with like Bride of Chucky. But
nowhere near, dude.
She was just kind of like, it felt like she was a little bit, even though she was a big part of the story, she just kind of felt like an afterthought. I think she only shot like 2 or 3 days total.
I believe she fit in like 2 days.
Yeah,
or something.
That's what I remember
It was at
seeing.
the end of the filming,
right?
And this was actually like the first time her and Andy met.
Yeah. Joseph DeLuca composed the music in this one. He is well known for doing Evil Dead 1, 2, Army of Darkness, Moontrap. The fucking music and Curse he did as well, and he is just phenomenal. Like, I think his music in this... I think the music in these movies are really fucking good. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed it. So, what did you think about everything? What did you think of the movie?
Overall, I'll say I didn't hate it, but as everybody is very well familiar with my opinions on the whole Chucky franchise from my first episode, that, my introductory episode was, hey, let's do Child's Play 1 and 2. And I was like, oh, great, I fucking hate Chucky. Okay. So I've never been sold on this franchise or the idea of Chucky and anything about it. I've just never been interested, essentially. Like, sure. I feel like if some stupid little fuck like that's coming after me, I'm gonna kick its ass. Like, I'm not scared. It's a fucking stupid doll. Like, I will burn it. I will do whatever the fuck I need to fucking survive. It's half my size. Like, this is fine.
Right.
Unless it kills me when I'm sleeping, I'm not worried about it.
Which it will.
And it's gonna, like, whatever. But it's just, I actually was very impressed overall, with not even just with Cult, but with Curse too, as far as like the visual. Yeah. Like how it, and it's partly because of the day and age that we're in now. Sure. It's a million fucking years later than it was when they first did Child's Play, and but it's a different world. But visually, it's so elevated. Like, the standards are raised way fucking up here in comparison to where they were in the original movies. But I still like the nostalgia in the original movies a lot better. But I like how clean these felt.
Well, you liked part 2 more than the first one, right?
I did, yeah.
This one, Curse, in my opinion, went back to the roots of what 1 was. There was a lot of suspense in Curse.
I didn't like Curse at all.
You didn't like Curse at all?
No, I was bored out of my fucking skull.
Well, that would make sense why you might not like this one a little bit, because it's a little closer to that than...
Yeah, also bored out of my skull.
Right.
For me, and it's hard in comparison, especially to the 2 other movies that we did for this week, which are harder movies to follow by leaps and fucking bounds. The other movies we're going to talk about are way harder to follow than these 2. Right. These are more fun and like carefree kind of, horror movies, and fun horror movies. They're funny. They've always been funny. They've always been silly and campy. Like, the acting's never been great. It's always kind of subpar shit. And, but the story and the effects are always pretty cool, and that's fine. But I was struggling to be able to pay attention because there was so much wasted time. I felt like there was just so many wasted moments and opportunities, and it dragged on and dragged on and dragged on, and it was unnecessary. Okay. That was my biggest issue. And then I always have an issue with disassociating myself from, like, being able to realize and understand that this is not meant to be taken seriously. Right. And so I always struggle with that with the Chucky franchise, is like, I don't need to take this so seriously, so I nitpick stupid things that nobody should be nitpicking about it, but they bother me.
I have a lot of categories when it comes to different types of movies. Like, I would not try to compare this movie to something like Videodrome. Right. Do you see what I mean? So yes. It's in a different category in the campy, kind of silly, fun kind of way, whereas Videodrome and some of the movies we're going to be talking about on Thursday are going to be a little bit more serious, artistic. Although one of them isn't. So no. But yeah, it's a little more stylized.
Right. And once I kind of sat myself down in my brain and went, just let go and have fun with this. I did actually enjoy them to a point. Like, I was just fucking bored. Like, I couldn't have fun with it. Like, there were little bits that were funny, like little lines from Chucky that are always funny. And then the post-credit scene in that was just great.
Okay.
So great. I loved it. But with Cult, I had way more fun. So I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. And it's my favorite.
Really?
From this entire
franchise. Cult is.
Because which is shocking to me, because I was not excited about it at all. Like,
well, that's a good thing.
It's just so elevated in comparison to the rest. I mean, there's so many issues and little stupid things that I don't like, but when I take that and separate it, and I just have fun with the movie, out of all of them that I have seen, and I will say I haven't watched the entire franchise.
Okay.
I've seen bits and pieces of every single movie, but I've seen 1, 2, 3 all the way through, and then I've seen Curse and Cult.
Oh, so you missed out on the other two.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I've seen bits and pieces from those two, but I haven't seen them from start to finish.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, I've seen Bride of Chucky. I take that back.
I was going to say, I thought you said
saw that when
you
I was a
did.
kid. Yeah, which was hilarious.
Seed is one of the worst in my opinion, so.
Yeah, no, I did see Bride of Chucky, but I was a child because I saw it when it came out.
Right.
And I was relatively young and I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I watched it anyways because I thought it was cool that they had a girl doll.
Yeah,
so
okay,
I wanted to check it out because she was cool and gothy and I loved it. But I don't, to me, honestly, I will say that I really love Child's Play 2. Like, I love the whole idea and concept behind that movie. It's great, but this was probably my favorite. Just like how it's how it's styled and how it's done. There are so many beautiful scenes.
Yeah.
In this movie it's very, very clean from start to finish.
Right.
I will say that as many little stupid inaccuracies that I have, especially being in the medical field, I'm so like I'm more like picky on things like that, you know, and like little things that I noticed that they probably didn't think of when they were filming this.
Okay.
That I wish they kind of would have, because it would have made the story a little bit more believable for people like me who have a problem like disassociating the fact of reality versus this is stupid and it's a fucking killer doll.
Yeah.
With his, voodoo spells or whatever.
Right.
But I overall, even though I struggled to pay attention in a couple parts, like it was still pretty decent. I liked that the character development was actually pretty well done for the little time that they spent on each character before they were killed.
Right.
Like it was still pretty well done.
Okay.
Everybody kind of had their own story and their own idea that you were kind of able to connect with a little bit. So it worked out in a way, and it's, I don't know, there's just always some shit that's so unnecessary that's like gets thrown in the last minute that I'm like, oh God, or it's so predictable. You're just like, really? Like, but liked it way more than I thought I was going to.
And it's your favorite in the series, so that's got to be something.
It's hard to say I liked it better than Child's Play 2, but overall,
it's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Okay. Well, for me, and my opinion about this movie, I feel like this brought it back. This is so you guys can kind of get a better understanding for yourselves. If you've seen Curse of Chucky and you actually liked it, I have a feeling that you would probably like this one.
Oh, absolutely.
The Curse is a little bit more serious, but it kind of warms you up to this one, so it's very important that you watch it. I feel like Curse kind of brought back the suspense to me. There's a lot of sections in the Curse of Chucky that I really liked. Like they were doing the chili thing, and there was like you didn't know who got poisoned, and it was really interesting in that respect.
Chili roulette.
Yeah, chili roulette.
Awesome.
Like it was that was a genius idea.
I do completely agree with you on that.
That's what I liked about it, is that it had more suspense. It didn't rely on just cheap jokes.
Yes.
And we had been ruined by that with The Seed of Chucky. Now this one, I feel like brings all the movies together, much like The Curse of Chucky did, which I truly loved. I actually really like Curse after watching it the second time again, so it's growing on me. I'd say it's pretty safe to say, this one is a hit for me. Like, I really enjoy it. It's really gory. It's kind of brutal. It's also kind of funny. Some of the best death scenes in the series, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the way that I should have been, in my opinion.
This is like, honestly, to me, I felt like this is the goriest of all of them.
Yeah, definitely.
By far. And, I mean, it's a little cheesy and a little campy at some parts, but it's still really fucking cool. And there's like 2 scenes in particular.
Okay.
That we'll discuss later, but that are just out of this fucking world, outstanding.
Well, and the other really cool thing, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I will tell you that there was a story that some of the elements in this movie were supposed to take place in one of the other movies in the franchise that never got used. And if you followed along when we talked about the first 2, you probably know what I'm talking about. We'll divulge that in the spoiler section because we can't talk about that.
I think I brought that up when we did fucking Child's Play 1 and 2.
No, it's not that.
Oh.
No, I know what you're talking
Damn
about,
it, I
though.
got all excited.
But plus, there's only a few things that I didn't like about this movie, but more on that in the spoilers part. I genuinely feel like this belongs in the series. It didn't feel like it was out of place.
No, it totally ties in.
Curse pushed the old ways of Child's Play. What was missing, I feel like, the suspense that should have been there throughout the entire series. Though Cult sort of brings back the humor. It kind of is like a mix of the suspense and the humor in a weird kind of mix. The only minor grievances that I have are somewhat with the Chucky dolls, like how they looked, their neck in particular. But after you sort of get used to it in Curse and this one, you know, Brad's voice as Chucky kind of carries your attention anyway. So I do like the eyes of these dolls a little bit more because they are a little bit more realistic and they're veiny. And to me, they feel way creepier.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree with that, but that was the only thing about it that made it creepier. Other than that, it looked too fake.
Sure. There are some bad CGI moments in both of the films, Curse and this one, that get a little bit of a miss for me on that. And that may get under a little bit of people's skin, but if you were able to watch the first Curse of Chucky and were okay with it, then you kind of know what to expect going forward with this one.
Right.
But I don't think they used it as much as they did in Curse. There was some things.
I didn't notice it as much in Cult as I did in Curse. In Curse, I fucking noticed it.
Yeah, if you like Curse, you'll be okay with this one.
Even if you didn't like Curse, I think you'll like this better.
Like,
I think you're gonna like Cult. I honestly do. Like, I feel like even if you're like me, who fucking hate Child's Play and hate this entire franchise, like, I mean, hate's kind of a strong word. I wouldn't necessarily say I hate it, but I've never understood why Chucky was so terrifying to people. Like, I don't. Maybe I just never had a fear of dolls.
It's the same reason that if you like tarantulas, that you wouldn't understand somebody that's scared of a tarantula.
No, I get that. So that's, I think that's what it is that I never had a fear of dolls.
Right.
I never things like that never bothered me. Or clown.
Chlorophobia. Is
we
that
know.
what they call it?
We know what the clown thing does for me. So I gotta. Yeah.
Never mind.
Anyway, so maybe that's what it is. But to me, it's not scary.
Well,
and
I think you also missed the brunt of the series anyway. Growing up.
Well, I did.
Not to make fun of you.
No,
or
I
pick
wasn't.
at you.
I wasn't born till 1990.
Right. So this is a little bit of an older franchise.
It is, and I feel like that's a big part of it too. Is that I was a baby when this stuff came out. That I couldn't watch it. I couldn't see it. I saw Bride of Chucky. Like, what year did Bride of Chucky even come out?
95, I think.
Yeah, so I saw it when I was like 6. Like, you have to think of things like that, you know.
Right,
like,
or it was 97. I can't remember.
Either way, I was a child.
Yeah,
and I remember specifically sneaking to watch it at a friend's house, and I was a child.
Well, I've been on the show and talked about Chucky quite a few times throughout the episodes that we've done, and I think it was with Patrick and Mike when we were talking about like what our favorite franchises were, and I can't remember what episode it was, but I've always said Chucky is not a high on the list. In fact, it's like Michael Myers and Chucky are closer to the bottom for me. Yeah, for
Michael
me.
Myers, really? I want to pick your brain on that later.
I'm talking about as a whole, as a franchise.
Okay.
I'm not talking about like specific movies. I'm just saying as a catalog of movies in a franchise, I like more movies in other franchises than those two.
Okay.
So,
I want another time. I want your explanation.
We'll
of why
get it.
Michael
We'll
Myers
get into
is at
that.
the bottom, because I'm super fucking curious as to why.
All in all, the movie covers a lot of new ground, though, in this Cult of Chucky that I think some of you probably considered in your minds and perhaps always wanted to see. Andy is back in this movie, which is a huge piece of the whole franchise, in my opinion, because it's him who started this whole thing. And I'm actually really glad because his interactions with Chucky made the movie for me. His acting wasn't perfect.
No, it was not good.
But his acting got us by, and the interactions that he had with Chucky and the specific scenes that they were together were some of my favorite in the entire movie.
They're believable enough, like especially in the beginning.
And some of the actors in this movie really weren't that great. They weren't perfect, but they did their job pretty well. Dr. Foley, who plays the therapist or psychologist, he was super fucking creepy in this movie.
Sleazebag.
He was really good at being super kind and then switching into super creep mode like immediately. There was a lot of laughs, I felt like, in this movie. I did laugh quite a few times, and there was a lot of uncomfortableness that I felt thrown around kind of in a good way. Overall, it's basically Chucky in a mental institution.
Yes.
And so you're going to have hijinks ensue.
Right.
So with these types of kind of combinations, it's kind of a silly environment to put Chucky in, but it hadn't been done. So I thought that was really good. But I thought this movie was super well shot. Like, I loved the camera work that they did it. They did the diopter shots where they have, like, you do 2 separate shoots for one person standing on the other side and then someone standing in the background, and then you kind of mix them together.
Yeah.
I love those shots. Everything was white and gray and black, and then Chucky was like the colorful piece in the whole aesthetic, and then blood in particular was super vibrant in this movie. Whether or not you maybe feel like the blood was real or not, it is the contrast between the blood, Chucky, and the white and gray, black, neutral colors was a really cool aesthetic. I liked it.
Okay.
I thought that was a bonus in the movie, so it was a really, I don't know. I just liked it. It made all the colors in the movie pop.
Yeah, and that's you actually kind of put something into perspective for me as to why they probably chose to do that whole clean, white, modern everything that they did, which bothered the fuck out of me, because this whole time I'm going, this is a fucking insane asylum. Like, mental health care is one of the least funded fucking things in America next to public schools. Well, this is fucking ridiculous.
Well, this is, Canada, so.
Well, but it's supposed to be America.
Probably, yeah.
But it was filmed in Winnipeg, I believe, in Canada. But it's supposed to be America. And if there's a mental health facility or a fucking psych ward, even if it's medium, fucking, like, security psych ward that looks like that anywhere in America, why is everybody not there? Like, that has to be like super fucking I just sounded like a skipping record. Holy shit.
Like, I get your point, but, like, we're also talking about a doll that kills people.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was, the whole time I'm being nitpicky about it. Like, I'm smacking mouse the entire time. Like, that would never fucking happen. This would never, doesn't fucking look like that. Blah, blah, blah. They would never have an office like that. They don't make shit for fucking money. He's not going to make enough money to have a fucking office like that. And he's like, it's a killer doll, bitch. Calm the fuck down. And I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I need to fucking separate
I think what it is that you have an opinion about this series, just you did not like it.
I went into it with preconceived notions.
You really, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean you have to like it. Like, I know some friends that didn't like it either. Like, they thought it was boring as shit. But me and Christina watched this, and we were laughing, and we were like, yes! Oh, fuck yes! And I don't even like the Chucky series that much.
Right.
And this is seriously one of the better movies.
Oh, for sure.
In the entire franchise. It
Hands
really
down.
is. Like, 1, 2, and this one are probably the best in the entire franchise.
Agreed.
I don't know where it fits into. It's 2 or Cult. They're fighting for it, and I almost want to give it to Cult just because it's gorier. Because the second one is really creative and interesting.
I love 2.
2 was like a lot of fun, and like there was like some cool like effects that they did with it. But this one just goes. Like, I was like, holy shit.
It's awesome. Like, like I said, it's so hard for me to choose between 2 and Cult.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's
but
tough.
There's just a couple of scenes in particular in Cult that almost take it away from 2. Like, 2 was good from start to finish. Like, I wasn't bored watching it. Whereas Cult, I was bored in a lot of scenes because I felt like it was just unnecessary. And
there was only one spot that I got bored, and it was like talking. It was like Dr. Foley and Fiona's character Nika. That really only bothered me. It was like the only lull that I had, and it was only like a 10-minute lull, if that.
Yeah, it's just some of it was just too long,
Really?
and I felt like they could have wrapped some shit up a little bit quicker.
Well, I think they were trying to go for that suspense again, like the Curse, like Curse did.
Yeah, Curse was really good about bringing in that old school suspense, like you mentioned. And
yeah, they really wanted to try to like. It's like they really just wanted to make you wait for it because you knew it was coming, but they just wanted to kind of like I don't know, put some care into it.
They got you, like, they hook you. That was what I liked about it. And I love when horror movies do this shit. Where they fucking hook you, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
And then you're just like,
that's not a good thing.
Fucking assholes. But then all of a sudden, bam! And then you're like, what the fuck? Like, I love that shit. Like, I love when it's not super predictable stuff. And they did a lot of that in Curse, which was great.
Well, I think a lot of people in the franchise, you got such a mixed batch of people who like different types of movies. That's why I try to compare this to other movies that other people may like or dislike so that you guys can kind of make a better, opinion about it. Because the first one was kind of serious. There was some funny stuff in it, but it wasn't overwhelming comedy like, say, Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
Which is like over the top. And then Seed of Chucky is just bad over the top humor.
Yes.
For the most part.
And I think you put a lot into perspective for me as far as with what you mentioned with the stylization of this film and how everything is all white and clean, but he is really the colorful piece, and the blood and everything is the colorful elements of it. And that's totally true.
Yeah, there's like no color other than that.
As I think about that, like you point that out, that's something I didn't even think of when I was watching it, and I'm just like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Like that, maybe that's exactly why they went with this type of an idea instead of how insane asylums are generally portrayed, which is how they actually are.
Right.
Which is gross and run down and fucking dirty. And I almost felt like this would have been a creepier and scarier film if they would have done it that way, but I can kind of see why they didn't. And especially when you say that, I'm like, oh my God, like I can see where they're going with the style of the film.
Yeah, I feel like Don Mancini's gotten better.
Oh, for sure.
To be honest, because like his shots are so well thought out. There was like this really cool shot where they have these like a V-shaped hallways on either side, and there was this really cool shot that they pan around the whole fucking room where the secretary's desk is, and it's beautiful. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is like one of the most artistic Chucky movies ever.
Oh,
like it's like well shot, like it's almost like trying to be serious here.
There's one scene in particular for me that I just had a fucking raging lady boner.
Yeah,
and
don't say
I'm
it
not going to say it yet. I'm waiting until we get to the spoiler part.
Yeah, guys, if you want to get at the spoil section and see what we really think about some of the scenes and breakdowns, we're going to do that here next. But ultimately, my last and final thoughts on the spoiler-free portion of this is, if you are a fan of the Curse of Chucky movie, this beats it, in my opinion, although I have heard other people say that it doesn't, but I think it's a good balance between Curse, the original Child's Play, and a little bit of the comedy that we got from some of the later franchise. Like, I don't know. The movements, they used real dolls in this, animatronics and everything. There were some sections of CGI. I know that pisses a lot of people off, but it's not like, to me, overwhelming, but I'm probably a little bit more forgiving than most people. Like, I don't know. Like, if it's done a little bit, like, sometimes you can't get away with certain shots. You just can't. You try to do the best you can, and you can't. Like, shadows and stuff like that are a little tough with a doll that has, like, a fucking 10-inch thick wire cable hanging out the back of the doll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they have, like, 3 people or 4 people that operate the face, and then like 7 people that do the body and everything, and it's just like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I don't know.
There's some instances where it calls for the use of CGI.
If you like gore, you like decent humor that's, kind of in line with like 2 or maybe Bride of Chucky a little bit. It's not Bride of Chucky, but it's similar.
It has its moments.
It has its moments, yeah. But it's a little bit more serious. There's a couple of funny parts in the movie that I really loved.
Way funnier parts in Cult than there was in Curse.
Right. It's a little more sad.
It is, actually.
Actually, there was some sad parts. I was just like, wow, this is really kind of sad.
There was, like, yeah.
Like some of the people in the mental institution.
Fuck.
It was like, wow, these people are really troubled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A couple of them.
Do you have any final thoughts, though?
If you're like me, and this is definitely not your favorite of the franchises for horror movies, or if you don't like Chucky, you don't give a fuck about Chucky, at least do yourself a favor and watch this. You should probably watch Curse first because they really do tie into each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you don't know anything about the franchise, I feel like you could still enjoy Cult.
They kind of sum it up in the beginning.
They do. In the beginning, when the
scene.
credit, like
Yeah.
the opening credit scene, they do kind of.
It's still not as good without Curse.
Sum it up a little bit, but yeah, but Curse really does. Like, Curse really fucking ties, like, it does what American Horror Story always does, where they tie in little bits and pieces here and there to every fucking season.
Right.
And that's what Curse does. It really ties up with a neat little fucking bow package.
Right.
All of the previous Chucky movies into this one. And then it's a really great starting point before you watch Cult. It's not a waste of time to watch both. Like, I would suggest watching Curse first, but you don't necessarily have to. It just will make more sense. But it can stand alone on its own if you really want it to.
Now, as a score, based on just the franchise alone, not comparing it to Videodrome or anything else,
yeah,
what would you give this a score out of all of the series, out of the 7 movies?
In comparison to this entire franchise, I would probably give this an 8.
Really? Okay.
7.5, 8.
I would give it a 9 out of the whole series. It's competing with 2 and 1.
To me, it's competing with 2.
Yeah.
But even 1, it's ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
It doesn't hit all the marks that it needs to. It's not flawless or anything like that, but it felt nice to be kind of brought back into the Chucky world in a way. It wasn't like, there is some flaws to this movie, guys. Like, so maybe it's an 8.5 if I'm being really particular, but I still think it's a really good movie in the franchise. And this is coming from someone who, like Britni, it's not their favorite franchise.
Yeah.
So, but if you guys are interested in some of the trivia and some of the background scenes and what we thought about certain scenes, you can stick around now, and we'll get into the spoiler portion of the show. If you do not want anything spoiled, then I advise you to watch the movie first, however you want, unrated preferably, after you watch Curse of Chucky as a pairing. But come back and check out what we think to see if we have similar opinions. It's obvious that Britni doesn't like it as much as me, and I'm kind of a fan of it, so you're going to get at least a good opinion from somebody, one of these two. I'm going to sound the spoiler alert right now.
Spoiler, 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 spoiler!
This is it, world. From now on, no more Mr. Good Guy.
So you have been warned. If you are listening past this, you are doing this to yourself, and you cannot blame us. Do not blame us at all.
Yeah, or I'll
We're
call you
in the
out.
spoiler section. So, dude, I got excited before I saw this movie. When I watched it, I was amped up about it. I really am. I'm like really amped up about the movie because of a lot of the gore scenes in this fucking movie. I'm super fucking, I don't know what it was, but like, if you guys have seen the movie, which you should have if you're listening this far,
Fuckers.
one of my favorite fucking things in the whole fucking movie was the head on a stick. The Chucky head on a stick.
Oh, in the
with
beginning,
Andy
torturing it?
Dude.
Oh, it's so good!
It's so cool.
So good!
It's like, it's almost like part of you is like, hey, fuck you, for killing everybody. So it's almost like you're getting this like vicarious revenge.
Right. But he's also his friend.
Right.
And that's the weird, fucked up part about it.
And Andy's like dark as fuck. Like, this is like, the movie starts out and he's like fucking having a date with some girl, and she is like giving him a shot, and she looked up some of his stuff. He knows what to expect. He's like, you read up my shit online, right?
You Googled me.
You Googled me, yeah. And then she's like, yeah, this really just isn't for me, And so then this is the best thing to me. He goes home and he's like, I guess it's just me and you, Chucky. Pulls fucking Chucky's half head out of a fucking safe after looking at like 100 guns on the fucking wall. And this makes sense too, because Andy has been through fucking hell as a child.
He's crazy.
Yeah, like he's seen death and murder and shit. This is how somebody would be affected, probably. A little paranoid, a little PTSD.
Well, yeah, and now they have the head of the fucking doll that tormented them locked up in their fucking safe.
Right. And then he tortures the fucking head.
It's amazing.
He smokes a joint in front of it, which is cool too. I was like, and then it's like they have this little bond.
They're friends.
Yeah, it's almost like they're friends still. But it's like the dichotomy between the two of them is still there. Like, it's like...
I fucking loved their dynamic between each other because to me, it all comes back to the original idea with the good guy doll of, I'm Chucky. I'm your friend till the end.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, it's so perfect. Like,
and then one of the things they do is like, one of the things that Chucky says is, want to play? Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play? Fucking
and he says
Andy tries to hand him the joint. He's like, hey, can you give me some of that joint, man? And so he's like, yeah, why not? I've been torturing this head for fucking years. It's a normal everyday Friday night.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking torturing a Chucky head again out of anger for my life being fucked up. He hands him the joint. He smokes on it. And it looks legit. Like, they did the animatronics
really
and everything.
great.
It was really good. And then he tries to bite him. And he's like, oh, want to play? Yeah, I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
I had a big old fucking lady boner. I was like, yes. I love all of his little quips and ways, like, back at Chucky, like, just even in the post-credit scene for Curse.
Yeah.
Holy tits.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Like, as soon as that shit fucking went, I was like, yes! He's just like, play with this. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I can't.
Dude, Alex Vincent wasn't the best at the acting. Like,
in that scene,
it was good.
He's incredible.
Well, there's two scenes that they're together.
In the asylum, like the padded room part with the doll he placed there.
That was cool. Well, that's another really great scene. But there was another scene where he's watching a video of him trying to tell Dr. Foley that Nika, who is technically
locked away
Charles Lee Ray's first murder, or like he's attempted murder. He made her paralyzed and everything.
He killed the father first.
But Alex Vincent, Andy Barclay, is trying to get that girl out of the mental institution because they blamed her for all these deaths because they couldn't believe that it was a doll. So he brings the disembodied head into the office, and even then...
and shoots fucking nails
into its head.
And it's alive, and it's very obvious that it's alive, and they don't believe him because they believe it's some fucking camera computer trick.
Right, and then while he's watching this video again out of anger, Chucky's behind him making jokes. Like, laughing. He's like, oh, this never gets old. I love it.
Again, Andy? And I'm like, oh my God. It's as I said, their dynamic is just, between the two of them is just incredible. Like, and I love how it ties back, but like, as him as an adult and his tortured ass fucking soul, now that he has possession of who has fucked with him his entire fucking life.
Right.
You know, he one-upped him. He beat him. Like, he has him, pretty much. And then he still fucking has him in the end, which was so great.
It's almost like...
it felt so good.
The head on the stick is like almost like that voice in the back of his head of his memories that's fucking with him. That's always a constant reminder that his life is shit. And it's like, but it's in the physical form because he's got the head that no matter how many times he tortures him, his life is still shit.
He's never going to feel better about it.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to get rid of it.
He needs to, because otherwise his life's... But he's obsessed because he's afraid it's going to come back for him.
Yeah, but it's also his friend.
Right.
And he hasn't realized that yet, that he needs him.
It's kind of a dark little...
It's really fucking dark. And it makes you really think, and I loved that. That opening scene is fucking phenomenal.
I love that. That really set the tone for me.
I agree, and that's one of the things that makes me enjoy this more than pretty much every other film in the franchise.
Because, you know, guys, we always do our favorite scenes and shit, and I've been thinking, you know, because I've been doing this for a while now, and we kind of go down our favorite scenes, and some movies I'm like... Struggling to kind of get a favorite scene or point out a scene that bothered me or whatever it is. Like, even some movies are just so boring that I just can't even... come up with shit.
You make it up.
But with this movie, like, I have like a list of like 10.
I have quite a bit.
I can't, but see, that to me means that there's some, even if the continuity of the whole film isn't great, perfect, it's still got enough to carry you to the end.
Absolutely.
And that there's something to be said about that, in my opinion. Now, is it for everybody? Probably not. I'm sure people are going to complain about something small or it just bothers them. I mean, it's fine. I'm not trying to pick on you.
No, I know, but I'm that person that complains about stupid things that you shouldn't complain about because it's a fucking movie about a killer doll.
I think I was expecting it to be really bad.
I was too.
And it was really good to me. So
I was expecting it to be god fucking awful, and it was way better than I thought.
Well, and Christina was like, she's like, you need to like make sure you write all. I was like, baby, I already got it all written down. I sat there for like an hour, like writing down all my favorite shit and like what I was gonna say, and she was like, you're really amped up about this. And I was like, I know, that's so weird because I don't like this franchise that much.
Yeah, Mel said the same thing.
Yeah, it's so. Oh, he liked it.
He liked it.
He did like it.
He actually really liked it, but he doesn't hate the Child's Play series. Like,
yeah,
he remembers those movies from when he was growing up, and it always kind of freaked him out. And he really liked it. He liked all the movies we did this week. So, he didn't really like Curse that much. Like, he did ish, but he also agreed with me that we both thought it was just really boring.
I think what it was for me is after seeing Seed of Chucky,
right?
It was just so bad that I was like, thank God, like we're a little bit. It was a little abrupt. It's a huge abrupt change from Seed to Curse.
Yes,
like it's very drastic.
But they do a really great job in both of tying the whole franchise in. So I did really like that. They did a great job with it. So
there's 2 aha moments in the Curse.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, he did like it.
I feel like Cult of Chucky is a really good movie in my opinion. I am not a huge fan of the franchise, so maybe I'm not as partial to some of the things that other people like, but I really do like the gore in this movie. There is a little bit of weirdness, like it didn't flow right. Maybe the movements of the puppets weren't exact, but I thought they did a really good job. There's a little bit of the heart, and I can see why some people feel like the Chucky isn't there. Maybe the energy of like Brad Dourif isn't as strong, or maybe it just didn't get cut in well, or there's too much space in between it didn't have the continuity that everybody wanted. But overall, I think it's a decent movie at the very least.
I'm not a fan of this franchise at all.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
Yeah.
Way more than I thought. So I was not looking forward to going into watching it, and I was just like, why?
Did you
why are we still doing Chucky?
I had to finish it up because it was,
until next year.
The first one came out 29 years ago.
Fuck.
So it's practically 30 years.
It's older than me.
Right. Some of the trivia on this, guys, by the way, is Kirshner, Mancini, Brad, and Fiona Dourif, plus Tony Gardner, who did the puppeteering, all considered this movie theirs. So it's like their baby.
They all like it.
They all grew up. Well, especially like Fiona. Even Tony Gardner's daughter grew up with seeing Chucky. So it's like kind of like in their family. Even Brad Dourif is so excited that Fiona is doing her own thing and that she's done Curse, and it's almost like he passed the torch in a way, and it's staying in the family in a weird way,
He's fucking awesome.
But I just think it's kind of interesting that they, like, at least Kirshner, Tony Gardner, and Mancini, they all kind of fight over it as to whose movie it is. That's why they've never left each other. They just keep going through.
Right.
But like I was saying, Tony Gardner's daughter and Fiona Dourif grew up with this, and they actually, if you think about it, have seen their own parents die. Mm-hmm. Because Tony Gardner's got killed in, I think it was Seed of Chucky. Guy's head gets cut off. It could be Bride or Seed, but his head gets cut off, so her daughter saw that. And then Fiona Dourif saw him die in the very first movie, technically.
Like all of them.
Yeah, just him as a human being.
Oh, right, yeah.
As a human being, not a puppet.
Yeah,
the puppet's easy to like disassociate. But she says she hates watching that. That's the one thing that she doesn't like, and she will never get used to that because they have like a really close relationship.
Oh yeah, as they should.
In The Curse of Chucky, when they cut the head off, she swung the axe. Like, he swung it at her knee, and then she pulls it out, and then she swings it at Chucky, and his head comes off, and it just looks like the plastic end.
Yeah.
A lot of people were really upset about that.
I'm upset about it.
I think it was a poor choice as well.
It was stupid.
So,
he's supposed to be a person.
Because of that, that's why they added the gore back to Chucky.
Good.
Which was a really good idea, in my opinion.
Good. Because at first I questioned it a little bit, especially in the scene with Andy.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, why does he have guts?
Well, he stomped the fuck out of that dog.
Whoa. He's supposed to be a person.
Right.
Like, it makes sense, But at first I was a little pissed about it. And then I had to remember, too, the Chucky head in the beginning. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, there is a kind of a gripe with that because if you think about it, like, the doll that Andy kills in the movie is kind of, like, just obliterated. And it's like fully bloody and gory, which is great, but he's like the newborn. Like he's like in all the other movies, it took a while before he became whole with the doll.
Yes.
So it didn't really make sense that in a few hours he'd be fully gored up and like, you know.
Well, then the doll wasn't even alive when he sent it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was only a few, like, literally an hour later, and he was, like, fully all flesh and plastic.
It was weird.
That could be a gripe that somebody might have with it, and I could totally understand.
Right.
But, again, I don't take this one as serious with all the, like,
you can't.
the
Anything
mythos.
in this, you can't. Like, anything in the Chucky series and franchise, you cannot take seriously. Like, try and do yourself a favor and don't take it seriously.
One of the things that fucking caught me off guard in this movie is the wheelchair sex scene.
Oh, I hated it.
Like, what
so
the fuck?
Fucking unnecessary.
I didn't mind it.
Why?
I just was just like, I was like, well, yeah, I guess she's never really had sex.
No, it was dumb, Alex.
Remember, she was a virgin.
Yeah, but it was so fucking stupid. Like, there was no fucking point to it at all.
They were both okay with it.
Well, duh.
As actors.
It's
but,
Fiona fucking Dorff. Like, of course that guy's okay with it. But honestly, like, it was so unnecessary. Like, it did not need to happen. It was a whole 5-minute fucking segment that could have been passed over easily. Like, there was no point, and it doesn't even tie back into it later when she finds out that he has multiple personalities.
I was like,
there's no reason for it.
Part of it, though, I was like, Jesus, like, it
went just like right to it.
I don't think it's completely 100% unnecessary, but it definitely caught me off guard.
100% unnecessary. I still went, get it, girl, but it's 100% fucking unnecessary.
She definitely, that was her idea, it seemed like. I don't know.
Good, that's fine. Like, I'm happy for her, but still, like, I not needed at all.
And a little tidbit on that scene, though, both the actors actually met to have dinner to talk about how they were going to do their scene, because it is kind of awkward. So they had to, like, sit, and then they were like, you know, I really don't think that we should kiss in this scene because it just feels like they're just having a fuck, you know?
Right.
Like, and it really did look that way, but he was like, no, you're going to kiss. You have to kiss. And they both apparently did not want to kiss.
I can see that.
Mancini said that they should, but...
It's more intimate when you kiss, though, and they're not trying to make it intimate. It's not supposed to be an intimate moment. Like, so when you kiss, it makes it intimate.
Well,
That's just like there's so many people that have this opinion on cheating, where if you fuck somebody else, but you don't have a relationship or you don't kiss this other person, but you strictly just fuck them, they don't view that as cheating, versus where you kiss somebody, you hold hands with them in public, and
that's
you have this relationship.
Intimate,
that's passionate. That's intimate.
Yeah.
That's a relationship.
It's not passion. It's just intimate.
No, it's a intimate relationship.
It's a personal, intimate moment.
Exactly.
One of the things, though, I feel like, though, and I would thought about during that scene and why they put it in there is, like, I don't know what I would be like if I had been in a mental institution for several years.
I probably would have fucked that guy, too.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
I'm just saying, like, if I was in a mental institution and nothing I had ever seen was positive, and everyone that I met talked down to me, treated me like a liar, a crazy person, I'd probably fuck the first person that was nice to me, too.
They try and portray it like this is the first normal, quote unquote, normal guy that she's met.
Yeah, and he is in a way. Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to portray it as. So I understand it, but I thought it was unnecessary because they don't go to anything different from that point. Their characters don't grow together to anything that makes sense for why they needed to show them fucking in a scene in the beginning of the film.
Well, he goes to bat for her a lot in the movie. He totally does. He sticks up for her like 3 or 4 times.
Yes, but that I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
I didn't think it was needed.
I mean, I don't know if the like love connection was there. Like, I didn't feel that necessarily, but he did stand up for her
because he has 5 personalities.
Right, but he stood up for her. He's cared about her quite a bit. I just don't know that the relationship was carried across.
No.
Also, you remember how I was talking about how the shots were really well done? Don Mancini said in the commentary that he was like, "Oh, well, you know, I'm a big Brian De Palma fan." So he's like, a lot of the stuff that you see in this movie is going to be my boner for fucking De Palma. So, which makes sense because some of the shots I could see where he got that vibe from a little bit. And what did you think of the doll in this one, by the way? Well, this and the curse are pretty much the same doll, except they don't have the scars.
Yeah. Until later in Curse, but I agree with your earlier sentiments about the eyes.
Yeah.
I loved that because they did feel more realistic, but I felt it was too fake.
Felt like his cheeks were bigger, like he should have made his neck thinner.
Yes. I don't know. It just didn't work. And CGI and fake and uncomfortable the whole time. It didn't feel as realistic, which is ridiculous considering how many years of difference were between the original Child's Play 1 and 2 in comparison to now. You would think that the older films would feel less realistic than the newer, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
The older films feel more real.
Well, they said that this particular doll was supposed to be based off Child's Play 2.
But still, even in Child's Play 2, they felt realistic.
Although it had the teeth of Child's Play 1.
Right.
Because if you notice the difference between 1 and 2 was the teeth. Like, he had real teeth in the second one almost.
Yeah.
Whereas the first one, it was just the 2 front buck teeth.
And I felt like, I don't know, that was the biggest thing that I noticed, at least, is I felt like the earlier films, the dolls were more realistic than the newer.
Okay.
So
that is one of the flaws in the movie to me, is the neck thing.
Yes, but the eyes were incredible, so they did feel very human.
Yeah.
And I really liked that.
Yeah.
Like, they were very believable, and they were very creepy and very just unnerving.
Well, and as you mentioned before, by the way, you pointed out that Tiffany, the character Tiffany played by Jennifer Tilly, this is the first scene that her and Andy share.
This is the first time they've met.
Right.
In all of the films. But, I mean, it makes sense because she didn't come around until Bride of Chucky.
Right.
So he wasn't part of it.
Right. Well, and a lot of the fans online on Twitter, I don't know if you remember this, but a lot of people really excited that they were in the same movie together this time because it would have been the first meeting of them. But apparently, Don Mancini said that he did not have it written for them to have a part together.
Yeah, they don't.
And no, they do in this movie. They have a shared part in this movie.
I don't remember them having a shared part.
They do. It's the scene where they're talking on the phone while they were both driving. And they had that split screen where they had her on the right and him on the left. And she was like, "Oh, it's me, Jennifer, Tiffany, whatever." And he was like, "I know who you are."
Yeah, okay, because they were both in Curse of Chucky too, but they didn't share a scene in Curse.
No, yeah, but that was the scene.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I see. And now
they weren't maybe in the same room, but it's the same scene.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Also, just to give you kind of an idea, the Carlos the nurse orderly had scenes in the movie where he was actually selling photos of Nika on Perez Hilton website.
What?
Remember when he was sitting at the computer and Chucky grabs the knife? Do you remember when Chucky goes up to grab the
would never happen, but yeah.
Yeah, he goes up, grabs the knife behind him while Carlos is on the computer. Mm-hmm. Well, directly after that, Chucky goes off to the side and the nurse comes in and she's like, "You really shouldn't be doing that." Like, he's like, "Look, I need to take my husband out on a date before he can't go anywhere anymore. I don't know if he's old or sick or what's going on." But you see Perez Hilton on in the background with the pink cover on the top. And he's like, "I'm just trying to make a quick $1,000 and then I'm going to Alaska."
Oh my God, I don't even remember that.
They didn't have it in it. It's in the extras.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
But later, he also gave Nika a phone. Remember when she was like panicking because they were going to bury the doll? Because they buried the doll so that she would stop freaking out a little bit. Well, he comes in and feels bad that he's been selling her pictures a little bit, so he kind of like befriends her.
I like that they didn't do that shit though, because I liked Nurse Carlos, and he was the only one that was nice to her.
Right. They I think that's
I'm
partially
glad they don't make
why.
him a scumbag, especially because they already made her fucking doctor a scumbag.
Well,
so.
he tells her, he's like, "Here, I'll give you my phone." And she was like, "You don't want your phone?" And he's like, "No, just use it to tape it. If you see something, if you see him come out of the ground, you can tape it." And, he's like, "I didn't want to go to Alaska anyway." So he never really sold the photos. So that was his way, without her knowing what he was talking about, his way of saying sorry.
But this is only what happens in the extras.
In the extras that they cut out, yeah, the deleted scenes.
If you didn't get the DVD, you don't know what Alex is talking about, like me.
One of the things that I really loved about this movie is that they had multiple Chuckies. Remember I was telling you about the scene that they had in one of the other franchises that they did not keep in it? Well, that was part 3. In part 3, they were going to have the plastic that Chucky got melted on turn into several different Chuckies.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, well, I brought that up too.
That's what I was so excited about. Because I both did.
Okay.
We both tied it in, but in different ways.
I thought you were talking about the Blood Buddy thing. That's all I remember. remember you saying about it.
No.
Because they were supposed to have multiple Chuckies, and everybody, that was like the natural thing that should have happened, but they never did it.
We were talking about it, but we approached it in different ways, but we came to the same conclusion. But anyway, continue.
In this movie, they have multiple Chuckies, which I really liked because they all had a specific different personality. The part 3 where they were going to do the multiple Chuckies, they ended up turning it into the fucking military school for some dumb reason. I don't know why. But Don Mancini brings it back into the Cult of Chucky, which I think was kind of a nice, addition to it. Didn't mind it at all. Like, it's kind of weird that all of a sudden he just learned a new spell.
Yeah, but in his half-assed way of explaining it.
Yeah, and the other thing that was kind of...
On voodooforDummies.com, and I'm like, oh, suck a dick.
Yeah, well, it doesn't need to make sense because, again, why would a doll come back to life?
Exactly.
But... in the same respect, in the mythos and the storyline and everything like that, every time he does the Aoi Tui Dembella, like, I give me the power I beg of you, the fucking thunder comes up usually, but they were just doing it Aoi Tui Dembella, and then boom, they were like popping up.
Yeah.
I thought the buzz cut one was pretty funny.
Oh, the one Andy placed there?
Dude, that shit had me rolling it a couple times.
Oh, that whole scene when they first bring the buzz cut one alive.
Right.
Is goddamn hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
Especially like the little fucking hit at Hannibal.
Oh, he's like, why did they cancel it? Yeah.
I died because Don Mancini wrote a couple episodes.
Yeah. So
Hannibal.
It was like his little jab.
It was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like I lost my shit. Like I was laughing so fucking hard. It was so funny. Like, and especially just like they jumped straight to the TV series.
Right,
Like, not
yeah.
even anything Sounds of the Lambs. It just goes, can't believe that fucking show was canceled, man. And I'm like, oh my God. Hilarious.
They were explaining that when Chucky brings back some of these other multiples, that they're kind of like a newborn in a way. Like, they're fresh Chuckies, so they're kind of younger-minded than the other ones, so they're kind of learning to kill again in a way, even though they are other, like, identical Chuckies.
Yeah, but which is still why the Buzzcut Chucky doesn't make any sense.
But it's still fun.
But it was funny, because they're basically like, oh yeah, go fuck him up. Like, he did this to your hair, like, go fuck him up.
One of them's got missing arm because the fucking chick, Madeline, she asked Chucky to kill him. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But his arm's missing. The other one had his hand melted, so he has got these like claw fingers.
Long fingers.
Yeah. And then the buzz cut, and I like he's like, man, I've had a really bad day. I'm missing an arm, and basically, and they're like, yeah. He's like, yeah. What about me? I got my hand melted. Look at this.
Look what they did to my hair.
They're like, oh yeah, that's really bad, dude. You go fuck him up.
Go fuck him up. Yeah. I'm like, what?
You gotta. Oh no. What did he say? He's like, yeah, that's a good point. Fuck him up big time.
Fuck him up big time. Yeah.
I don't know. I liked that they had multiple Chuckies, and then they kind of make a play on like who is also a Chucky, because you kind of think the Malcolm character, the crazy guy that has the wheelchair sex with her.
They bring him he tries to be a Chucky.
Yeah, because he's got multiple. He's called Multiple Malcolm,
which is interesting. Like I liked that, and then he's like, in my brain, and blah blah blah, and then oh my God.
Yeah, I mean there is.
It's cool.
As much as I thought he was a decent actor, I thought that his parts were a little...
he was the best out of all of them.
You think?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, some of his stuff was a little... I don't know.
He was better in certain scenes than others, but he was better than most of them. But that may just be coming across to me because he had more screen time.
Okay.
Than the other asylum patients. But I thought the chick that played Madeline, or whatever.
She was amazing.
She was horrible.
What?
Are you kidding me? She was so fucking unbelievable. She was goddamn terrible.
Really? I thought she was good.
Which is interesting that I like the fact that you think she was great, and I was like, she fucking sucked. Like, I was not believing anything that bitch was selling me.
Well, she kind of comes around later and realizes and admits it, though. There's like this whole meta thing where she realizes that she was fooling herself.
She gets better when she dies.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. But up until that point, I was like, this bitch sucks.
Well, you know what's funny? Because, like, her whole scene with the whole suffocating the Chucky doll / her baby thing, she kills, like, you find out that's, like, the moment where you find out that she killed her own baby, and that's why she's in the mental institution. Before we even watched the movie, I told Christina, I was like, I guarantee you, I'm just now realizing this before we watch this and before I've seen anything that anybody said about this movie, I bet you this is going to have multiple Chuckies. Then, towards the end, and I don't want to spoil it just yet because we'll get into that, there was another scene where Andy sends the doll in, and I was like, Christina, I bet you the reason that doll's there, and that was the one that he pulled out of the safe, is because of this. And she was like, just stop, just enjoy it.
I know, I did a bunch of that to Mouse too.
But I was right.
I kept guessing a lot of shit and like and Mouse, every time it would happen, Mouse was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's predictable. Like,
sure.
I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, there is some predictability. There is some plot holes in some of the mythos of the Chucky series. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I understand like why people might be a little upset about that, but if you really, maybe again, I don't take it that seriously.
No.
So, speaking of the Madeline character, when she pulls, like, Chucky sticks his hand in her mouth and then pulls out the gore, which I thought was really weird.
Stupid.
Like, I didn't understand
it. Even pull out?
I don't understand, but Don Mancini said that not only the scene with her when she's upset and puts the pillow over the kid's head, he said that scene in particular made him want to cry just because it's dark.
Well, what it's supposed to be portraying.
Right. And then on top of it, he said that his favorite scene in the entire franchise, the favorite shot of Chucky, is when he's looking at the gore that he's pulled out of her mouth. And the facial expression that he has and the shot and everything, he says that in particular was his favorite shot in the entire series.
What?
Light, everything.
But there's so many better ones.
Well, he just means you're going to think from a director's standpoint.
I get it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not like a scene that you would enjoy as a viewer, but a scene as a director that he just was like perfect.
It worked every way he wanted it
Exactly.
So I understand, but I'm like, I'm like, what did he just pull out of her?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that supposed to be?
I don't know
this
either.
Is stupid. Like,
but I thought it was kind of a cool little thing. She's like realized that she killed her child, so she's like okay with dying now.
This was her way of accepting what she did.
Right.
And her way of understanding this was the only way that she can be at peace with herself and at peace with her child that she killed.
Yeah, and she couldn't kill herself.
Right.
Because she wanted to be with her child.
Exactly. So that's pretty much how it was. It's kind of like an old school religion-esque kind of way. She can't kill herself because she's not going to go to heaven with her baby.
I thought her dynamic was pretty interesting. I liked it. I didn't.
The story was cool. I just thought the acting was shit.
Okay.
For her. I didn't like her at all. I thought she was terrible.
I thought she was more believable than Malcolm.
He was, and all of them were pretty bad in their own way. The most believable one to me was the chick who thought she was dead. I liked her.
I thought she was funny.
I liked her. Like, she was interesting, but I thought she died too soon.
Well, before we get too much into that, I'm just going to name off a couple of two more trivia bits, and then we'll jump into our favorite scenes. Do you know the red car in the movie that Tiffany drove? That is the car from Bride of Chucky.
Right.
That's the exact one.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. So I didn't know that at first, but they said that in the
I was hoping it was.
extras. The hospital is called Harrogate, which is based on an Agatha Christie real life story, actually.
Interesting.
Where she disappeared in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Apparently, people combed the countryside trying to find her, and she ended up being found like days later. Like everybody in the country was literally looking for her, and she was at a spa in this small, no-name town called Harrogate. And I guess there's a movie even about this called Agatha.
Yeah.
About that whole incident.
Holy shit.
So he always just thought that the name was really cool and the story was really cool, so he wanted to name the hospital Harrogate. So,
interesting.
I don't know. Thought it was kind of fun.
I feel like we should talk about what is deemed as to be the most quote-unquote gruesome death in the entire film, which actually was almost a scene that didn't happen the way that it happened.
Oh, go ahead. You tell me about it because I didn't read about it.
This was actually planned and written out completely differently by Mancini himself versus how it actually played out on screen. Like the poll consensus amongst fans of the franchise and fans of the film, the quote-unquote most gruesome death was that of Claire, who I never understood why she was even fucking there to begin with. She felt so fucking unnecessary.
Which one is she?
The one who burned her house down but didn't kill anyone. No one was in it. She just burned the Asian girl.
You think that's the most gruesome?
This is polled as far as to anybody who watched this and loved this movie is deemed as one of the most gruesome deaths.
Memorable or whatever.
No, as one of the most gruesome. To me, it's not the most gruesome at all.
It's kind of typical.
It was dumb. Honestly,
I didn't think it was dumb, but I've heard people say that.
I thought it was stupid.
I liked it.
Because it would never happen. That's why I thought it was stupid. But this is deemed to be one of the most gruesome, quote-unquote, deaths in this entire film.
Or in the franchise?
In the franchise.
Okay.
And in this film in particular. And, which, to me, she feels like a throwaway character. So I'm like, why does anyone give a flying fuck that this bitch dies anyways? Because why is she even there?
Right.
She's super sane. And she's the only voice of reason the entire time. So it's super weird and doesn't make any sense ever at any point with her character. But anyway, she gets bit by the fucking Chucky doll.
Yeah, it was just gnarly.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It was pretty
She tries
cool.
to throw it down the chute, right?
She does. She tries to throw it down the trash chute or whatever, and it bites her, and she drops it on the ground, and then she realizes, holy fuck, this thing's actually alive. And
Right.
she tries to convince the orderlies that this thing is actually, like, she believes Nika, and she's like, oh my god, like, it's real, it's real, it's real. And she has this complete mental breakdown, which she's one of the best actresses, actually, in this entire film.
Okay.
She does a really great job. And she goes into this complete fucking mental breakdown. They sedate her, and they tie her up to this bed.
Right.
In this completely white room, surrounded by some machines, and she's attached to a heart monitor for whatever reason, underneath a skylight.
Yeah.
A fucking skylight. Really? So, but this was where it bridged on super creative deaths for me, which I
Sure.
loved. And Chucky comes in and starts fucking with her, and he has this condensed oxygen can, and he bounces it off the ground and shoots it up into the skylight, and then in slow motion, the skylight cracks, and she's like pretty much, coherent at this point, but the skylight begins to crack very slowly, and then all of a sudden it shatters. And then they do this cutaway back out scene with the camera, how they film it. Mm-hmm. And you see the snow falling down into the scene and the glass shards slowly falling on, like, down onto her, and it is so fucking beautifully poetic. I lost my goddamn mind.
But you hate the scene.
No, I love that scene.
I thought you said you thought it was stupid.
The death is stupid.
Oh.
The scene on its own is goddamn incredible.
Okay.
It is filmed so fucking beautifully, like I can't even express to you.
You just wanted
like,
the glass to stick in her.
Yes, I did. I wanted
Okay.
shards to fall in different places on her, and I felt like it would have been a little bit more believable. But it just, to me, like just that small, slow cutaway that they do where everything's in slow motion with the snow and the glass.
It is cool.
It was so gorgeous.
Well, can I tell you a little factoids on that real quick? First of all, Don Mancini even said that he was just like, it really gets hard to come up with creative kills. He's like, that is the one. You said they had other choices.
I'm going to get into that.
Well,
too.
then, yeah, go ahead. Well, I could tell you the facts on it. The drug he shot into her is based off the drug that was in the movie called What Lies Beneath. And he was really super interested in that movie and the drug where you basically are paralyzed and you can't move and do anything about it. He's always been infatuated with it. Plus, he said he was just like, I just wanted a decapitation. I like it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I like heads and shit.
I was so into it until that part, and then I'm just like, God, that looks so CGI. Like, it was just.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
I know it wasn't, but it looks so fake.
Her head, I thought the head.
The head was
decapitated
awesome.
head was, like, beautiful.
No, the decapitated head was tits.
Yeah, that
Like,
was really
so
good.
But the part where it actually occurs, I'm just like, meh.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is he actually did a chat on Facebook, Mancini did, where he revealed that this particular kill was originally very different.
Okay. What were the two?
He stated that his exact words were, it's interesting because that sequence, the details of it, changed a lot. In the first draft, Chucky causes the sprinkler system to come on and it drenches them and then they go up in flames, which makes no sense to me.
Oh, I forget. I remember him saying something about that.
And then he says, and I quickly got that out of my system.
She was electrocuted, not on flames. She was supposed to get electrocuted.
But he already did that in Curse.
Maybe, but that's what he
No, he
said.
did.
He said it was supposed to be she was electrocuted, not fire.
Well, he
Because it
straight
wouldn't
up
make
says they
sense.
go up in flames, which I'm like, that doesn't make sense if you just drench them in water.
Well,
why would they go up in
in
flames?
the extras when I watched it.
Okay,
He
yeah.
said electrocution.
That's why he got that out of the
Yes.
system. So, well, they would get electrocuted and then set on fire.
Probably.
But he can't do that because he did that in Curse. That's what he did to the fucking babysitter.
Probably.
Or
Yeah.
the live-in nanny or whatever. He
Right.
electrocuted her. But anyways, so he says, it's like that's going to take too long and be too much of a pain in the ass. In another draft, Chucky goes to the closet and there's a vial there that says anticoagulant. He goes, does this mean what I think it means? And he injects her with it, and she just bleeds out from every orifice. But then I realized that's like halfway through the movie, and the movie structurally needed a big exclamation point. So that's why I decided to do the glass and the decapitation with the snow. It's very operatic, and that is exactly what I felt the entire time they portrayed that fucking scene.
Yeah.
I was like, this is poetry.
I didn't mind the decap.
No, I didn't.
I didn't mind
the
it.
actual, like, the shards and and I was like, it kind of, like, it kills it a little bit, but the, like, suspense leading up to that fucking moment, just gorgeous.
Yeah, it was really well shot.
Absolutely
I liked
fucking gorgeous. And then the cut afterwards with just the snow falling on her decapitated fucking corpse.
it. Yeah. That's like I said, this is one of the most well shot Chucky movies ever.
Boner.
Like, it's really
incredible.
one of the best Chucky movies ever
It is.
shot.
It's so good.
One of our favorite scenes that I wanted to talk about, the crazy lady, when the one that, like, is talking shit to Fiona's character, Nika, all the time, that they don't get along.
That was Claire.
She thinks she's a ghost.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember her Angela?
I can't remember her name either.
Angela. I want to say it's Angela.
Maybe, yeah. She thinks she's a ghost. She's, of all the franchise, this is the first time that anyone's seen Chucky and doesn't get scared. Mm-hmm. She's the first character in any of the movies that doesn't even care, other than the kids, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But he walks up, they have this conversation, and she's not scared of him. So Chucky gets a little frustrated. He's like, I'm here. And she's having an argument with him. She was like, no, I have mental problems, and I see things that aren't there. And he's like, I assure you, I'm here.
Yeah. What does she say? I'm a, something schizophrenic. That's
Yeah.
what she says. Yeah.
And he's tired of arguing with her. He's like, you know what? I'm going to come back, and you're next.
Yeah.
And he's like, because he gets mad, and he's like, and he says a line in it that makes kind of another parallel, kind of like you said with the Hannibal thing. Mm-hmm. He goes, oh, the cuckoo's nest, this one, or something.
Yeah, Brad.
Fucking cuckoo's nest, which he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah. So that was just kind of a nod there. I thought that was cool. That was a really funny scene. We talked about the Chucky head talking when they were watching the video, which is really great. The orderly getting killed, Carlos.
I hated that.
I thought that was
stupid.
dude,
I mean, it was cool, but I was like, run, motherfucker.
What?
Like, she straight up was like, run! And he just stands there. And I'm like, my ass would have ran before she told me to run. But it was cool.
I don't know how you are getting caught up on these significant details.
It's me, Alex.
It's a silly movie.
But you're right. Like,
it's
it was cool.
silly movie.
It was cool.
Dolls do not come to life,
I
Britni.
know.
I'm just letting you know.
I know they don't. That's why I can't,
okay, this is why I like that scene, okay? So this is where Carlos gets fucking attacked by all three Chuckies. One's like the one with the lost arm, one's the other one with the buzz cut, the fingers and everything, and they're all like kind of stabbing him. One of them slices his stomach open, and all the organs come popping out, which is really weird.
And they're steaming.
Because buzz cut, since he's kind of the young one,
yeah,
his face while he's stabbing him made me crack up. Like, I just fucking lost it because he's just so excited. He's like, I feel so alive. Like I've never
Disneyland.
And I'm sorry, I was just giving you shit because I'm like, how can you hold this accountable when there's a fucking doll walking around and that would never happen in real life?
No.
Suspension of disbelief.
That's still what I'm saying, though. Like,
I understand.
As soon as my ass would have walked into that fucking room and saw that shit occurring, my ass would have been gone before she told me to run.
Right.
Bye. I'm out.
One of the funniest, my favorites. Do you want to tell another one of your scenes, or do you have one?
Can I say my favorite death scene? Which, after you discover that the Dr. Oh my God, what was
Foley?
Foley. After Dr. Foley's character, you discover he's a total fucking rapist, creeper.
Creep.
Yeah. And he's been using his hypnosis therapy sessions with Nika to fucking molest her, pretty much.
Rape her, basically. Yeah.
He buys her these like red heels.
Yeah.
And Chucky has kind of come into he kind of knows a little bit of what's going on at this point between Dr. Foley and Nika.
Because he slammed him over the head the first time.
And tried to get her to kill him, and she wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, now he's in there the whole time. The second time, he puts these red heels on her, and then he comes onto her again and does this whole thing, and Chucky knocks him out again. And he's like basically half dead on the floor, and Chucky's trying to get, in a way, trying to get Nika to like kill him. And then he ends up possessing Nika.
Yeah.
It almost kind of takes away from the story for me, because now he doesn't have this revenge against Nika. He's kind of become sympathetic to her.
Well, he always has.
Well, he always has, but
because she was supposed to be his daughter in a way.
But he lets go of all that anger.
Right.
In this moment, and he takes control of her body, and he stands up, and so now she can walk, and all this, because it's Charles Lee Ray in the body. It's not Nika anymore. And he's like realizing the fact that he has control of her body, and he's like becoming her in a sense, but he's still him. And then he's almost about to walk out of the room, and he realizes that Dr. Foley's character is still alive, and he kind of comes back, and he looks at him, and he's like, "This is for Nika," and he fucking stomps the dude's head in with those red fucking heels.
Right.
And it's this glorious redemption
brutal.
moment. And to me, that's the most gruesome death.
That's pretty brutal.
Of all the deaths in this film, that's the most gruesome.
And it looks real.
It does look real, especially the final cut scene of it. Like when they pan out and you see like the fucking fucked up buck teeth shit.
Right.
Like, holy fuck. It was awesome. It looks it was so cool.
I totally agree. That is really one of the better scenes in the whole fucking movie, just because of its pure brutality.
Beautiful.
Like, I'm like, Jesus, that's some violent ass shit right there. But do you want to know what's funny? When they originally wrote that scene, they didn't realize that they didn't think about the logistics of her having to stomp on his head. So the whole scene where he kisses her foot and puts on the shoes was added in.
Makes sense.
Because she was going to, A, have to stomp on his head till it was smashed, and then B, how was she going to walk out in the fucking snow in no shoes?
With no shoes.
With bare feet.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, wouldn't it be cool if he just randomly put on shoes and kissed her feet and shit?
It's interesting because it feels so half-assed.
Right, but it works perfectly because he's so creepy.
Right.
He's really fucking creepy. I thought it belonged in there just like it should have until I watched the behind-the-scenes stuff, and then I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy how that came together. So, but yes, brutal fucking scene.
Awesome.
One of my favorite scenes, and that's a contender, by the way, is the doll comes to the hospital because Andy has like two dolls. He's got the Chucky head on a stick that talks to him and he abuses and tortures for Friday Night Fun Night and for like masturbatorial whatever night.
Dates go bad.
Yeah, revenge masturbation night, which is Friday, coincidentally. And then he has the other buzz cut one that he cut the hair off and put in another safe. And he pulls that one out, ships it to the hospital, and that one comes back to life and everything. Well, he sent it there, and immediately I was like, Christina, there's got to be a reason this is coming here.
Yeah.
I bet you there's a gun in that fucking doll.
Oh, for sure.
And she was like, really? She was like, God damn it, just watch the movie or whatever. And then by the end of the movie, he punches his hand into the stomach. And this whole scene looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because Andy's in the fucking rubber room, right? And there's all the like aesthetic walls, and then the buzz cut opens the door, and he's ready to kill him. And then he just holds his arm with the knife and punches his stomach in, pulls out the gun, shoots him in the chest like 4 fucking times, which is
stupid.
I felt like it was a little too much there.
It was stupid.
But the whole struggle with him sticking his hand in was like really cool, and the expression on the doll's face was really cool. And then he shoots it in the head, but it's like, oh, well, that's not enough. Let's stomp the fuck out of his head. And there is nothing more glorious.
Yes.
And redeeming and vicariously revenge than watching the doll get smashed in the head like a fucking cantaloupe.
Totally agree.
It's fucking so glorious to me. I love that scene.
It feels so good. It feels so right.
See, here's the thing. Like, there are other scenes that we could talk about, and we're probably going to talk about the end credit scene.
Yeah, the
before we do it,
scene, or the post-credit scene.
The fact that we can talk about all these different scenes that we liked in my opinion. Kind of, I don't know. But see, you didn't like everything because you couldn't do the suspension of disbelief thingy.
No, I try.
I don't know.
When I try now, going back, I'm not as picky about it.
Right.
But in the moment, I was picky.
I didn't care because I don't think
I'm just like,
it's not a beloved franchise to me, so I was just like, whatever.
You've been in an asylum for how many years, yet you have perfectly ombre hair. That would never fucking happen. Like, you would never have a Sharps fucking drawer at the orderly desk. And why would you, unsupervised and unlocked, and why would you ever be sitting there at an insane asylum with your goddamn headphones in with your back turned to everyone behind you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Unnecessary, stupid. Absolutely fucking asinine.
But again...
However, it's a killer fucking doll.
Exactly.
So...
Is voodoo real?
Well,
well, you know what I mean.
In New Orleans,
I'm just
yes,
saying. I'm giving you shit.
Voodoo, I don't know. Voodoo and Santeria, I'm very much believe more in than a lot of shit.
I'm just saying, like,
but,
a killer doll coming back to life is pretty ridiculous.
Yes.
But enough of me picking on you with that. I'm sorry. She's giving me the middle finger. Last and probably goriest scene is the drill in the back of Malcolm's head.
Awesome.
And it wasn't like, aha, he's not I mean, I did think that he was Chucky because
in a way,
they did fool me. I was like, oh shit, who is a fucking Chucky? Is Madeline a Chucky? Because when he came up out of that grave, I was like, oh, he's Chucky now. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Right.
So it did trick me in a sense, but it wasn't a good payoff, I think.
No.
That it was just multiple Malcolm.
Yeah.
But him getting drilled in the head for tricking us was kind of nice, I think.
Interestingly enough, he's not credited as Malcolm in the end. He's credited as Michael.
Yeah.
Which is the first personality you meet him as in the movie, which I was like, but he's supposed to be
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Which he's supposed to be Malcolm or multiple Malcolm. Why isn't he credited as Malcolm? Which I thought was interesting.
He does Michael Phelps. He does Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, but he does the version of the one from the Social Network movie.
Yeah.
He does that version. Andy
Samberg?
No.
No.
You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about. The guy that played Andy Eisenberg. It's Andy Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he does his version of Mark Zuckerberg. And then he turns into Charles Lee Ray, which is kind of, I don't know. I mean, he did a good version of, I will say he did do a good version of Mark Zuckerberg. But let's talk about the post-credit scene. We'll put our final thoughts on this, guys. We know this is a little bit longer than normal, but we had a lot to say about it.
Which is a good thing.
The end credit scene, though, at the very end, you see Chucky on a stick, the head on a stick, and who pops in? None other than
Kyle!
From what part?
2!
Right.
Child's Play 2!
She was the other foster kid, the badass kid.
I was so excited.
That was friends with Andy.
Oh, they loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it so fucking much.
So I guess if part 8 comes around,
fucking Kyle's in it.
She's gonna be in it.
But it was just so fucking beautiful, Alex. Like, she just comes in, she's like, hey, Andy sent me.
Right.
And she whatever she has in her fucking hand to torture him. I'm just like, ah! Like, I was like, this is amazing. And that was the most excited I ever got about this franchise.
I was very excited to see her.
Yes.
It was nice to see her come back. Another character. They've grabbed all of them except Seed of Chucky, which I think everybody unanimously hates.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that one in part 3 that everybody always has issue with. And part 3, I'm still thinking it might be better than the Seed of Chucky in some way.
Yeah.
Although I do like some of the kind of cool thing that they did with Seed of Chucky in some of the scenes. But so overall, what do you think?
Liked it. Overall.
Would you watch it again?
Yep.
Will you watch it every year?
No.
Will you watch it every 3 years?
Maybe.
Okay. I'll watch it every fucking year.
Yeah.
I really, even though the suspension of disbelief with all the things that we pointed out, the fact that they come back too quick and they become fleshy too quick is kind of bothersome. The fact that the Sharps drawer, all these little tiny things.
Nobody fucking wears nurses' dresses anymore ever. That shit went out in like the 70s.
I liked it aesthetically. I liked it the way the gore was. I liked the humor in it. I thought
overall.
I think there was a lot of really wonderful scenes. Continuity style, the way it flowed together wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But overall, it carried me through the whole movie, and I was joyous about a lot of those scenes. So
overall, it was 7.5 or 8 out of 10 for me. Would watch again. Would recommend.
I definitely think it's like 8 or 9 for me, in the franchise especially, because out of my top 3 now are 1, 2, and Cult.
Yeah, it's 2, Cult.
But guys, I hope you enjoyed our little breakdown, our spoiler and our spoiler-free in the beginning. If you haven't already, this is the last week that you can sign up for the BTV VIP Club. If you don't turn it in by Wednesday this week, we are going to announce the winner this Thursday for the big box giveaway with a gift card, tons of movies, tons of Halloween stuff, Halloween swag out the ass. And
out the ass.
I mean, it's pretty much like a $80, $100 thing that we're giving away here. Like, seriously, it really is.
Yeah.
So we're going to pack it full of fun fucking things for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to longlivethevoid.com, check out the BTV VIP Club, and sign up. It's just an email that we send out on Monday and Thursday to let you know we got a brand new episode. But other than that, thank you guys so much for stopping by.
Stay weird, monsters.
Listening to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. Tune in this Thursday for part 2 of Behind the Scream.